Well, meanwhile, the managing director of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, is projecting a strong pickup of the economies around the world, including that of Ghana. She, however, indicates that this will depend on how governments effectively manage COVID-19 and the deployment of vaccines.
In the words of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the point in history at which we stand is full of promise and of danger. We must not let our guard down. What we do now will shape the post-crisis world. So we must do the right thing. This means, above all, giving everyone a fair shot. A shot in the arm everywhere to bring the pandemic to a durable end. In January, we projected global growth at 5.5% in 2021. We now expect a further acceleration, partly because of additional policy support, including the new fiscal package in the United States, partly because of the vaccine-powered recovery in many advanced economies later this year. This allows us for an upward revision to our global forecast for this year and for 2022, as you will see in our World Economic Outlook.
Well, that was the IMF Managing Director, Kristalina Georgieva, speaking at the IMF World Bank virtual spring meeting. Away from that, the Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, has rejected claims that the ongoing power outages in the country is as a result of financial challenges with power transmission company Gridco. Some policy think tanks over the weekend chastised the government for failing to provide the necessary funding for the various power companies, a situation causing the ongoing power fluctuation. However, at a tour of the company in Tema this morning, Dr. Poku-Prempeh insisted that the ongoing maintenance work has nothing to do with finance.
The issue of financial challenges doesn't even come in. You heard the chief executive say it. Because they are doing the project, we can all see. So what does finance come in? The people don't have money to buy lunch, or I don't know. But as far as we can see, the project is an ongoing project. So it's not about finances. It's just that if you are renovating your house, sometimes it's more complicated and it's more expensive than even building a new house. These are lines that we have just been informed were strung, some from 1950, some from 1965. The power it was supposed to transmit, Accra has expanded tremendously. So they are giving us power lines that can improve the power situation in Accra. We just need the forbearance of Ghanaians, because what we are planning and what we are implementing is the best for them. We should all be truthful in our communication. In 2016, the whole country, they gave us periods that we were off and we were on. In 2016, the government of the day told us that it was a generation problem. In 2016, even the opposition talked about the government don't have the money to buy fuel. This is not a generation problem. This is not about fuel. So how could it be Doomsaw? Doomsaw is planned and the timetable is rolled out. And it affected the whole country for 4 years. Is that what we are seeing? No. Some of the system, because of the challenges, the reason why the system upgrades are being done is what we are feeling. And so we have to bear with the contractors to finish in time so that we can enjoy the improvement we so desire. Is there a Doomsaw? I would ask you. Is it the Doomsaw that you have known and come to live with what is happening in the country? We have systems where lights are flickering, voltages are low, and sometimes, like it happened over the weekend, the line is down because the conductor has broken. And that is exactly why we have what we are here today.
Well, meanwhile, project manager at Gridco, Owusu Efrie, has been briefing the delegation on ongoing works. He's confident that the stipulated time for completion, which is September this year, will not be extended.
The project is expected to be completed by September 2021, all things being equal. If you do not have any hindrances, then we are going to complete it by September 2021. Yeah, as I've already indicated, maybe we'll not be able to go there. Whenever we are constructing a line like this, we normally meet some crossings like ECG lines, and also maybe sometimes obstacles like houses. But for the ECG line, because it is also an electrical system, we must make sure that we give an outage to be able to cross the line. If we do not do that, there will be an induction and people might suffer from that. And so if we go to a place called on the Oponglo Road, that's precisely around Magdan area, ECG have about 4 circuit lines which are crossing our lines. And therefore, when we reach that location, definitely we are going to request for an outage. And so all those people who are being served by these 4 circuits will be taken off.
Following the ongoing planned maintenance and upgrade of power equipment by GRIDCO and the Electricity Company of Ghana (ECG), some power experts want a timetable for the intermittent power supply. According to them, the present power challenges in the country is practically doomsday, and therefore a schedule will enable consumers to plan well. Nana Amoesi VII is the Executive Director for the Institute of Energy Securities, and he joins us via Zoom. We're grateful that he joined us. First of all, government says the country's current power situation cannot be likened to doomsday, but rather planned maintenance. Do you agree to this description?
Thank you very much, and good evening to you, Charles, and your viewers. Well, we must appreciate and also admit that power outages are not new to us. Once in a while, power will go off for 1 or 2 reasons. And like you did mention, there are power outages that are induced by planned maintenance of a system. Others are also unplanned as well. And when you have a situation where the outages keep recurring, then of course there is concern to raise. And so if you watch over the last few months, we've had more than 7 major power outages, including the one that happened on somewhere around 7th of March. That's how we had total blackouts. Over the weekend, we also had some light going off as well, and we had low voltages as well. Will you say that in the night, GRIDCO contractors were undertaking projects? That's why the lights went out? No, they don't work in the night. And so there could be some reasons, some truth to what they say, that yes, we are doing projects and we can all attest to that. However, some of the incidents cannot be alluded or connected to the project that's been undertaken. And if you understand the system very well, you will know that when you give 1 megawatt of power or 1,000 megawatts of power to, for instance, GRIDCO, they're unable to account for more than 4.5% of that. When you give the same 1,000 megawatts to ECG, they can account for more than 25% of same power. And this are cash, and this is money that is lost. If you have this money, you are losing this money, then of course, it is clear that you are going to have cash flow challenges. And so we know very well, and we understand the sector, and we can say for sure that what we are going through is partly cash flow challenges.
Interesting you made that particular point, because we keep posing this particular argument to authorities that they make us understand the fact that it isn't a cash, related matter. But going forward, we've also noted that the whole value chain of transmission has specific hiccups. From the perspective of the IES, what do you think is the outstanding issue confronting Ghana's energy sector?
Well, Charles, if you speak to an ordinary worker at GRIDCO or ECG, even a management person, he will tell you, look, we have challenges, but who are you to speak? The minister will do the talking. Assignees of the minister will do the talking. And definitely, when they have to do this, they will massage the issues. It's not a new thing. All government does those things, but with time, you'll be betrayed at a certain point in time. Now, look at the challenges we have in the sector. If we have ECG and GRIDCO combined, losing in excess of 28% of power given to them to transmit and distribute, then, of course, like I said from the beginning, you will have cash flow challenges.
Great.
And so what we can only urge the minister and the ministry to do is to ensure that at least the low-hanging fruits, like commercial losses due to poor collection of cash, is dealt with. Then, of course, we can use that money that is saved to address the technical challenges in the system. That is a way to start from. But it is true. What GRIDCO is doing today, if they're able to complete on time, is going to save us a lot of headache as well, because the low voltages also lead to losses. And the kind of intermittent power supply also affects productivity and the country's own economic growth as well.
So, Nana, speaking of productivity, we do know that one aspect of the chain bound to have, a dire impact is the business community. They are indeed biting their nails in despair. Any proposals for businesses by way of adjusting during this challenging time, especially when we're getting from government that there will not be any timetable soon?
Well, industry is rather looking up to managers of the power sector to put out a timetable. They've done one before. You remember about 3 weeks ago, they put out a timetable for maintenance work around the Volta region. It was circulated widely. What has changed this time around? And so instead of speaking to the business community, that I am very certain, and I is very certain that they are waiting for consistent and reliable supply of power, we rather direct the attention to managers of the power sector to, put out a timetable if it's going to continue the same way than to leave them stranded.
All right, so
we are in COVID time.
So that's a form of a message to those who are, manning the systems. But what message do you have for the business owner out there in these uncertain times of erratic power supply?
Well, of course, what we can tell the business community is that they should brace themselves for a worse situation, because when one doesn't have a timetable, you cannot plan. And we're asking them if it's possible to also have backup generators. They can fall on it at such a time. And if the trend continues, this is the way to go to ensure that production does not suffer. And then, of course, we can still have goods being produced and services given out to Ghanaians. And also, when necessary, exports are seen from the same productivity.
I can imagine the cost of production along this particular line. But Nana Mwosi, the 7th, we're grateful that he joined us. He's Executive Director for the Institute for Energy Security there.